Okay, another garden update. Just having a quick look down there. I've got some coriander doing alright down there. I think that a lot of these are a bit stressed. I think that this Mizuna is bolting to seed. So I'm just grazing on the flowers as they come up. I've got some, that's a purple basil, a copper basil, I think it might be called. Yeah, and this is supposed to be a red veined sorrel. That's very bitter, so I'm going to crop off the bottom leaves from that. I don't think I'll be using them because they're just so bitter. They're not sour, they're bitter. So I'll probably pick off some of the stuff from the top, and it may bolt and go to seed, but I'll just let it, I'll just chop and drop that one. If it's no good to eat this year, we'll see what happens next year. I've got some lettuce and this bok choy that looks like it might be trying to bolt, so I'll do the same with that, and then eventually let the seeds, sorry, pak choy it's called. And then there's these curly lettuces. I think this is a chard, that one. And that's an oregano, along with a little nettle down there. Look at him, little nettle right down there. I like nettles. A lot of plants that we used to consider weeds are actually rather good. That's a salad of some description. What we got in it? Salad winter greens. A lot of these lettuce salads I got from a friend all at once, and again you'll see with that one I've been nipping the tips because it's trying to bolt. I think it's been put under too much stress by the wind, so it's trying to dump its seeds and run, I think, but that's all nature. Right, I've got tomatoes, and I think these are all, I think they're all determinates. So, and I've got a little sage over there. So I've got rows of green kale, salad, red salad. Oh, I don't know what that is. Some kind of lettuce anyway. And another curly lettuce row occupying that back bit there. So what's this thing in the middle, boys and girls? Well, that's my in-bed worm composting, and I'll show you how that works. So I've got a lid weighted down with air holes in it, and I've got a piece of paper underneath that, some bedding, and underneath that some food and some eggshells, which my worms seem to love. They're in there and they're munching away on everything and creating me some lovely worm casts, and the leachates are going directly into my garden bed, and I'm told that the worms will pass through the holes that are drilled in the side of the subterranean portion of that bucket, and they will go round my garden pooping and depositing good stuff where it needs to be. So this is my first year and my soil is pretty poor, and it's just in the process of becoming much better. I've already dressed the soil with a aerated compost tea. I've got a little fish pond pump, air pump in the garage, and I make a tea bag up of my own compost from my own compost heap, some worm casts, and I get that bubbling in a pot for at least 24 hours. These are beans, peas, some kind of bean I think, more beans. I've got labels in them, but my back's hurting at the moment, so I'm not going to bend down much and show you. And I've got some spring onions, and I'm not sure what the others are. Leeks, I think. Another worm bin there feeding this bed. Indeterminate tomatoes, I think. All along here. Some nasturtiums in as companion plants. I actually like to eat nasturtiums, they're nice and peppery, so they'll go nice. Green zuckers and yellow zuckers. So those of you worried about seeing yellow on the leaf, it's natural on that particular plant. Another 2 tomatoes there. Oh, and at the back there, that's fennel. So I've had to clip that up, and I'm using a trellis design here that was suggested to me by my friends Mark and Rosa, and I hope I've got it right. And what I do is I take one of my fancy sailing knots and tie a rolling hitch and then dangle a line and some stone, and then use those tomato clips to hold it up, and it seems to be working, and it does allow it to sway in the wind without it breaking, so I kind of like that idea. So remember, you heard it here first, folks. And I've done the same with the peas, but they just want to do their own thing. They're latching onto each other and climbing. This is my little, because mint and lemon balm being from the same family, they go absolutely scatty when you put them in a bed, so I'm keeping those in containers. So I've got mint in that large pot. There's 3 different types in there. I think there's 2 different types in this front pot, and the same with the lemon balms. I think that's all the same type, and they were just from cuttings from a sprig a friend gave me, so that's really good. And so I'm quite happy with that. The slate chips seem to be keeping the slugs at bay, because I have had 4 of lettuce leaves before. I've cleaned a lot of it up, but I had 4 of them and there were no slugs anywhere. So I'm thinking that these slate chips are scaring off the slugs and snails, because the front yard has got slugs and snails in it everywhere. So that's rather interesting. So, and I think if a bird flies over and drops a slug or a snail on the garden, if it drops it on the slate, it'll perish long before it gets to anything like moisture. So I'm hoping that that's the case. My garlic, well, I don't know about that. That was just a chancer kind of thing. But another good thing of that is there's another nettle coming up there, another stinging nettle. And likewise, there's another little stinging nettle coming up right there. 2 more worm bins in here, and I'm trying to do a little experiment of training that zuck. It's got zucks on it already, so that's looking rather nice. I'm going to try a little experiment of training this golden zuck up the trellis and see how that goes. I'll use those tomato clips with it when it gets big enough. Runner beans, well, they don't need much encouragement, not in this country. So that one is climbing nicely. This one was the slowest of the 3, and he's picking up even now. And this one, check this one out. He's trying to climb. He's trying to climb the trellis post. Going loony. Lovely. I do like that. You find your way up there. That's it. Excellent. My little willow is pushing out. It's pretty nice. Got dandelions popping up everywhere, but I don't worry about them because I like dandelions too. Extremely nutritious plant, and that's rosemary with what looks like shamrocks or clover growing out at the bottom. And another rosemary plant there. And now I'll take you to my pride and joy. I do like this lovely this I think this is a lemon thyme, Thymus citriodorus oreo thyme. So it's got a nice lovely scent, that one. I think it'll be nice with chicken, that. I'm guessing that'll be really good with chicken, and I think it will go rather well with my zucchini, my courgettes. This is my pride and joy, my little ricotta pepper, and I'm sitting in there to try him in this space, and it really seems like he's quite happy there. This was some early burn on that leaf, but that we seem to have remedied it, and what's coming up seems to be nice now. So we'll try him in there, and then what I'll do is I'll put some more compost on top of that and some worm cast on top of that huge pot, and I'll transplant him into there, and he can live there for the rest of his life. And it's a perennial, so it's going to keep producing fruit and growing, and it'll grow as big as the pot allows it to. It's a mountain variety, and it's a Capsicum pubescens, which is originally, I believe, they're from Peru, and they have these gorgeous fleshy fruit. This one's red fruit, gorgeous fleshy fruit with black seeds, and it can't cross-pollinate with other kinds of capsicum. So that's a very interesting, because it's a mountain variety, it's more suited to the British climate. So I'm very excited about that, and if anything happened to that beautiful little plant, I would be a very sad Peter indeed. So it's the only one that survived out of a packet of seeds, so I'm giving it the love. This is my main worm bin. Inside it looks much like the others, but what I do is I tend to feed different things into the worm, like for instance over in the green space in what I call the big bed here, I'm putting more nitrogen foods in for the worms so they can carry those out to give leaf growth for now. I've started putting in a little bit of banana because we want to be pushing fruit out with the tomatoes, and I also put in eggshell, which is good for their gizzards, and it's also good for the soil when they poop it out. My compost is still plodding on. I've got some grass and I need some cardboard to shred. I've got to shred up some more cardboard to top this compost up. Okay, this is my giant tea bag that I use for my making my aerated compost tea, and I've got a few plants in here, and I've got to give some of these tomatoes away. That one looks like it needs a lot of water. I better come in and give it some water. And this is my last attempt at doing dill, right there, as is that one. Dill just doesn't want to live in this garden. I've really struggled to raise dill, and I wanted it for my cucumbers, but my cucumbers don't seem to be doing well either, so I'm afraid this wind has really caused us problems. I'm trying to encourage bushy growth on that one, so I chopped the top off it, and it's pushing out okay. That is a Scotch bonnet, and this one is a jalapeno, and I don't know how well that's doing. Doesn't seem to be doing all that well, but you win some, you lose some. So these are all sweet peppers, and they're starting to look quite good now. They're coming up with the heat because it's quite warm in here. So tomatoes, I'm going to be giving some of these away because I've got too many. I've got too many to handle, either in polytunnel or greenhouse or not. Right, that's it so far. That's grass cuttings from the lawn. It's actually quite warm in there at the moment. Yeah, it's warm. But you more experienced gardeners will know why it's warm. It does get warm. Alright, thanks for watching.